Log4j, a vulnerability which will probably remain in the minds of CIOs and CISOs for many months to come. The Log4j security flaw could impact the entire internet. Here, in short, is what you would probably need to know when dealing with this vulnerability. It scores a perfect 10 out of 10 on the Common Vulnerability Scoring System (CVSS), which is an open framework for communicating the severity of software vulnerabilities. It was discovered by Chen Chao Chun of Alibaba Cloud Security, and it is basically a remote code execution class vulnerability, which means that it can enable attackers to execute arbitrary code and potentially take full control of the system. In short, it allows attackers to send text to your application, and if that is logged somewhere, such as in Log4j, your server will execute malicious code. The vulnerable component in Log4j is the Java naming and directory interface, which allows the logging framework to make remote requests. The attacker inserts a JNDI lookup in the header field. The string is passed to Log4j for logging. Log4j queries a malicious LDAP server, and the server responds with a malicious Java class, which basically executes the remote code. This vulnerability has resulted in exploits on over 44% of corporate networks globally. Some ways it can possibly be blocked, since it is essentially a web vulnerability. A web application firewall may provide a first line of defense. Log4j itself could be disabled, but this may not be practical because many organizations need the functionality for their applications. Perhaps the most important action that has been recommended by Apache and various technology vendors is to patch the Log4j application. Patches are being released as we speak. Just a couple of days ago, there was an advisory to patch to 2.15. I believe that has now increased to 2.17. Simple way to check if your Linux server is vulnerable to the Log4j vulnerability is this script here. Let's press enter. The script is executing. It's looking for files containing Log4j. Currently it has found no files, and it is now checking for installed packages. No yum packages were found. Java is not installed. So basically this particular server is clean. If the server were not clean, you would probably get an output like this. May be vulnerable. Installed packages include Log4j version 2.11, which is obviously a version which needs to be upgraded because, as we already discussed, we need at least 2.15, if not a higher version. This code is not 100% proof whether you are vulnerable or not vulnerable, but it does provide you a strong hint. I hope you found this short presentation on the Log4j vulnerability helpful. Thank you.